Hi guys, you're welcome again to my channel. If you're new, my name is Okey. I'm a lawyer based in Lagos, Nigeria, and I'm on YouTube because I'm trying to change my life and document the process of doing just that. So this is the third video that I'm putting out. Yes, I'm that slow. This is the third video that I'm putting out, and in this video I am attempting to learn how to learn, because my opinion is, if I'm going to change my life, I would have to learn new things and do those new things that I've learned. So the first step I had to take is learn how to learn. The truth is, we all went through school. Some of us, not all of us, some of us, did not go through formal education, but we've all been out there learning things, learning languages, learning behaviors, habits, and all of that. But I don't think any of us actually learned how to learn, because I felt it was really important, because I took time to look at a lot of the information and knowledge I've been exposed to growing up, and I found out that some of them I don't even remember. I took some language courses while I was in school, but I don't remember any of them, because I feel, honestly, this is my opinion, I feel I didn't learn those things the proper way. So it only made sense to me that I find out how best to learn and practice it in that way, so that whatever information, whatever skill that I pick up, during this process, I don't forget them. I'm able to hold them, until the day that I leave planet Earth. Okay, so I did a lot of searching on the internet. I ravaged the internet, and I found a course on Coursera, I don't know how that's pronounced, on learning how to learn. It's a course put together by the McMaster University. Very wonderful course. I'll put the link to that course in the description. Before that, I found a lot of information on how to learn, but this was, to me, the most elaborate. So it only made sense because I didn't want to do the quick fixes. I wanted to go through a proper course where I learn these things, and then I decide to summarize them. I wouldn't want to pick up a summarized text or summarized information on something as important as this. So I wanted to be exposed to the full thing, and then I do the summary myself. So I ended up taking that course and finishing it. It was a 4-week course, but yeah, because I had to do this content, I had to finish it in 1 week. So I compressed the whole thing. I had to spend a lot more time working on absorbing as much information as I could. I was writing and doing all of that, and glory I was able to finish. So I'm just going to do a summary of what I learned from that course on Coursera. Okay, so I think the first thing that I learned is that there are two modes of learning: the focused and the diffused mode. It's important that we understand this, because whilst we learn, we move between the diffused and the focused mode. We go back and forth. So it's important that we understand these modes and how we can maximize our learnings in these two modes, right? So the first mode is the focused mode. The focused mode is the mode where we are just focused or concentrated on the problem that we're trying to figure out. So let's say I'm trying to learn a new language, and I'm thinking about how to construct a sentence in that language, and I'm focused on it, and I had consumed information regarding that before. So I had read some material on it, and I'm trying to concentrate to locate the information regarding that thing and to just bring it to life. So I'm focused on trying to figure out that sentence, or just to make that statement in that language. So that's me applying all of the elements, if I'm allowed to say that, the elements of the focused mode. So when we are fixated, focused on trying to solve a problem using already stored information regarding that problem, we are in the focus mode. This is like a layman's way of saying it. Okay, so forgive me if I'm not using the proper, language. Okay, so the second mode is the diffused mode. Now, in the diffused mode, you're not exactly concentrating on that, the solution to that problem, because you don't really have it in your mind. So the diffused mode is best used when you're trying to, absorb new ideas, something that you don't really have the information in your brain, or so you're trying to figure out something that is new. It's the best mode to be if you're trying to be creative, because in that situation you're trying to come up with something that's new, that's you don't have memory or knowledge of. So the diffused mode is very good for creativity, and you can find yourself in that mode, or you can go into that mode by just being relaxed and letting your mind roam. Okay, letting your mind roam, and whilst you are in that state, your mind is just racing and going between consciousness and unconsciousness and trying to just find a solution to whatever problems you're dealing with. I think my understanding of the diffuse mode is that when you're asleep, you're in the diffuse mode. When you are running, or exercising, or just taking your mind off of whatever problems you're trying to solve, you are pretty much in the diffuse mode. Now, the beautiful thing is we ought to use both the focus and the diffuse mode at all times that we're trying to learn. But the best thing is that we go from focus to diffused and back to focused, just keep going back and forth, because both of them are important for learning. Okay, so that's the much I can say about the modes. I'll just dive right into the steps and what we can do to learn, the tips. I think I have about 10 tips, on how we can learn. So let's do that. Okay, first one I would say is practice more. Now, the idea is this: we learn and we assimilate and we retain information that we practice a lot more than the one that we just read. So if I want to learn how to ride a bicycle, it will not be okay, it will not be sufficient for me to merely read a manual on how to ride a bicycle and end it there. The advice is that I consume as much information as I can regarding that thing I'm trying to learn, that skill, that knowledge, whatever it is. But I spend a lot of time practicing it, because when I practice it, my brain then develops something like a molding block, if I'm allowed to use that word. So it creates a structure, a pattern, so that I can be in a zombie mode, which is mode where I'm not thinking about the problem and I'm able to solve it. A simple example is, because I have driven my car a number of times and I've mastered how to drive, the skill of driving is now lodged in my zombie mode. I've created in the text, or in the course, it's called a chunk. So because I've practiced it a number of times, I've created a chunk. A chunk basically is just a connection of ideas and skills that you can use, or you can apply to solve a problem. So the skill of driving a car has then formed enough chunk, and then it's lodged in my zombie. So if I go into my zombie mode, which is pretty much not being aware, not taking active steps to solve a problem, I still find myself solving that problem. So I can go into my car, not think too much about anything. I could be driving and my mind goes somewhere else, because already by reflex I know what to do per time. I know when to step on the brakes, or when to apply the accelerator, the hand brakes, everything. I know what I'm doing. It's already lodged in my mind. I don't need to think about it. So that's what happens when you practice and practice and practice. You get to a place where you don't even think about it and you just do it. Simple example is, if you train your mind to wake up by 6 in the morning every day, at the point you would not even need an alarm. Your body would already have been trained to know that by 6 I shouldn't still be in bed. So that's something that I think will be very important for anybody who is trying to learn. You need to be able to assimilate that information and make it a part of you so much that you don't even need to think about it, and you just find yourself doing it. Just the same way I'm speaking, I'm not putting a lot of thought into constructing my words, how to say what I should say, because I think I have a firm understanding of the English language, so I don't need to think about it. But if it's somebody who's just learning the English language, there will be a lot of hesitation, a lot of thinking that will go into what to say, how to say it, and all of that. So that's what happens when you have so practiced and mastered a particular skill. Okay, so we'll go to the next one. So the next one is actually just to follow up on the first, which is the practice. The next one is saying you have to repeat, but you practice spaced repetition. Okay, and the idea is this: if you're trying to learn something new and you're just repeating it, if you do that a lot of times in one sitting, you would have just wasted a lot of your time, because you don't pack that much information and just load in your brain at once. You will have to space it out so that it will, the second time that so let's say you do 15 minutes every day, you practice for 15 minutes every day. So that's spaced repetition. You practice 15 minutes today, tomorrow you practice another 15 minutes, and then you continue doing that. The tendency for that to stick will be a lot higher, because your brain doesn't feel overwhelmed. Because if you're doing something over time, the truth is, if you read or if you try to learn something, in that packed way, so you are doing several hours in a day and then you leave it, you will feel like you have learned it, but after a while, it will just fade away because it hasn't stuck properly in your mind, on your brain, on your memory. So you should practice spaced repetition. So do it. So if you want to learn how to drive a car, you drive maybe for an hour the first day, and you hold on, you go to sleep. Whilst you are asleep, you're thinking about driving and all of that. The next day you come and do another 1 hour. The next day you do another 1 hour. I didn't have to learn that long, but I'm just saying. Okay. So I'm talking about driving here. So you could do that, and maybe the third time you would have mastered it so well that if you're in your zombie mode, you will still be able to drive well. So that's my advice for that. So the next is fighting procrastination. This is very important, very, very important that you learn it. Fighting procrastination is one of the best ways that you can learn something new, because procrastination would always set in when you are stressed. So, and that happens a lot of times when you are learning something new. You get to a place where you get stuck. And if you get to that kind of place, there's a tendency for you to say, let me put it aside and wait for a bit. I'll come back to it. That's procrastination talking to you. And if you allow it, that's the end. There's a tendency for you to abandon that project halfway. So what do? There's a technique that was founded by one Francesco Chiliero. I don't remember his name, but that sounds something like, I think Francesco, I'm correct. I'm not very sure of his surname, right? So that he came up with a concept called the Pomodoro technique, which is you spending 25 minutes per time on a project, then you take a break, come back, spend another 25 minutes for as long as you want to work on that project per day, right? So let's say you're trying to learn a language and you need to read the materials, do some speaking tests or some speaking exercises. You say, look, I know I want to procrastinate, I want to leave it and go in. It's so difficult, and whatever excuses that you have in your mind. But you say, look, I'm going to give this 25 minutes. You get your stopwatch and you set the timer for 25 minutes. And you concentrate, you zone in, take out all distractions and zone in for 25 minutes. And immediately after it's 25 minutes, you log off, right? You do some fun things. Whatever it is that you would have gone to do had you listened to that procrastination. Maybe you go do a little of that, and then you come back. Maybe for 5 minutes, you come back and do another 25 minutes. So if, for example, you have decided for every day you commit an hour to learning that thing. So what it means is you have to divide that 60 minutes into 25 minutes pieces, and then you have like a 5 minutes break, and then you spread it out. So that should be like two sessions that you would do using the Pomodoro technique, right? So very important that you do it, very important. So fight procrastination in that way. I think so. That's a technique that I learned, and I'm actually going to follow. There are quite a number of techniques to fight procrastination, honestly, but I think this is the most, relevant technique as far as learning is concerned. Okay, there are some techniques that deal with doing, right? If you procrastinate doing of certain things, there are certain techniques that you would employ, I think. But I think this one pretty much resonates with me as far as learning is concerned. So, Pomodoro technique. Fight procrastination. Very important. Okay, guys, this is my younger brother Tochukwu. So I'm going to do a magic trick, and that magic trick is I'm going to make him disappear. Tochukwu, do you think it's possible?
I trust you, bro.
You do? Yeah. What if I make you disappear and you find yourself in America? How would that be?
That would be so fantastic.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to count 1, 2, and 3, and you're going to disappear. I don't know where you find yourself. I cannot assure you of anything, but I know that you're going to disappear.
I thought I'm away from this country. It's okay.
All right, so here it goes. 1, 2, 3. Whoa, he's gone.